won't hang around.
As fast as I can.
The screen faded in from black, the sound of distant rumble echoing like the heartbeat of the planet itself, above a sky painted in streaks of fire and ash, clouds trembling in a chaos, and a sense of urgency that grips you before a signal word appears. Welcome to Greenland too. Migration, the story of survival, human resilience, and the relentless force of nature that refuses to be tamed. From the opening frames, we are thrust into a world on the brink, a world where decisions are measured in seconds, and the weight of every choice can mean life or death. The camera sweeps over cities, the ghost town where abandoned cars litter streets like forgotten toys, building crumblings under the pressure of seismic tremors. You can almost smell the smoke, feel the vibration under your feet, and sense that something bigger than anyone human is about to shake the earth to its core. And just like that, the film seizes you, dragging you into a narrative that promises tension, heart, and breathtaking spectacle. The story begins not with catastrophe but with normalcy. The calm before the storm, we meet John Garrity as a rushed yet vulnerable survivor, whose quiet determination masks the trauma of his past. He lives with his wife, Alison, and their teenage son, Nathan, in a suburban enclave that feels safe yet fragile. The opening scenes are deceptively scenery. Birds, creeps, and gentle breeze flow through the trees, and Nathan rides his bike along familiar streets. Yet the film masterfully drops subtle signs, a news broadcast in the background, a sudden flickers of an emergency alert, foreshadowing the disruption of the calm. The Gratitude family embodies what the movies thus vast humans take frame against the backdrop for apocalyptic scale. As the initial tremors ripple through their city, we sense the enormity of the challenge that are about to face. The narrative setups are dual tension, internal and external, where survival is both a physical and emotional trial. When the comet fragmented and the Earth's atmosphere chores erupt with cinematic precision, explosion of wires streak across the sky, cities crumble in the background, and the once tranquil suburbs are thrown into panic. John, Alison, and Nathan are forced into the immediate flight, navigating streets torn apart by collapsing infrastructure. Each scene is meticulously crafted. The camera lingers on failing debris, the screams of panicked crowd echoing, and the cinematography juxtaposes the vastness of the disaster with intimate human reaction. As they reach the outskirts of their neighborhood, their family witness a convoy of desperate survivors, vehicles filled high with possession, their faces etched with fear and determination. Her Greenland to migration illustrates a recurring theme, the fragility of civilization and the primal instinct that emerge when survival is paramount. The gratitude journey becomes with small choices, which route to take, who to trust, and how to keep their family together when everything familiar is slipping away. The film plot then expands into a journey across continents as global migration becomes the only hope for survival. From the Americans to Europe, the story showcases both human indignity and vulnerability. We follow the Gratis as they navigate checkpoints, hostile environments, and moral dilemmas. The narrative delves deep into each character's psyche. John's struggle with guilt for past failure. Alison displays courage and resilience while balancing maternal protection. And Nathan, trust thrust into a world of choice more. Reconcile teenage defiance with survival instinct. These emotional arcs are woven seamlessly with a larger catastrophe, ensuring the audience remain invested in both the macro and micro levels of the story. The screen plays cleverly, balance action sequence with movement of reflection, allowing character to breathe, to plan, and to evolve amidst chaos. Twist in Greenland too, migrations are not just plot device, they are reflection of human unpredictability. When the Garrities join a group of refugees bound for a safer zone, alliances shift, secrets are revealed, and survival demand difficult compromises. One particular turning point occurs during a night crossing of a partially collapsed bridge. The tension is palpable. Every crack, every snapping clang, every whispered breath could be the last. Here the director used lighting and sound design to amplify fear shadows, stretch like predators, wind whisk like angry spirits, and the silence become a weapon as much as any threats. Characters are tested not only by environment hazard, but also by their moral boundaries. Decisions are no longer about preference. They are about integrity, loyalty, and the primal instinct to protect loved ones. This sequence cements the film reputation as more than just a disaster spectacle. It is a human drama painted into the color of devastation. Character analysis in this saga is where Greenland 2 migration truly shines. John's character development is a study in layered resilience, a man hunted by past mistake. He evolved into a leader whose pragmatism is tempered by empathy. Alive and represent unwavering courage not through grandiose heroics, but in her quiet determination to shield her family and maintain moral clarity in a morally grey world. Nathan, embodying youthful curiosity and fear, serve as both a moral compass and emotional anchor, reminding viewers of innocence endangered in collapsing society. Sporting character from hardened survivalist to morally ambiguous. Strangers are not merely archetypes, their decisions and backstories enrich the narrative tapestry, creating a world that feels lived in dangerous and heartbreakingly really. The film excels at showcasing interpersonal dynamics under duress, highlighting how trust, betrayal, and human connection can define survival as much as skill or luck. Themes in Greenland too, migration extend beyond disaster survival to explore human adaptability, the ethical cost of survival, and the enduring power of hope. Symbolism is written subtly throughout, the fractured bridges representing both literal and metaphorical divides. The comet fragments as catalysts for both destruction and revelation, and recurring motifs of family photographs or personal keepsakes, reminding characters of what they fight to preserve. Cinematograph techniques such as sweeping aerial shots juxtaposed with claustrophobic interiors reinforce this theme. The editing rhythm alternates between breathless tension and reflective. In a sense, the film is meditation on survival, not just of the body but of the soul. Behind the scene trivia adds an extra layer of engagement. Did you know that the bridge collapse scenes was filmed using a combination of practical effect and high fidelity? CGI with stunt actor trained in specialized harness work to enhance realism, or that many of the background extras were actual volunteers from local disaster response team, lending authenticity to panic sequence. The director intensely shot multiple angles for key scenes, allowing editor to craft sequence with dynamic tension. Easter egg also abounds subtle reference to the original Greenland. Movies are hidden in new reports, license plates and cracker dialogue, rewarding key-eyed fans. Their details are not just gimmicks. They deepen immersion, creating a cinematic world that feels both lived and meticulously crafted. Fan theories have already stated, swirling around a narrative, some spectacle that certain comments fragment. These theories, whether plausible or imaginative, testify to the depth of the film's world building. The filmmakers intensely leave room for speculation, eaching engagement and promoting decisions long after the credit roll. Fans dissect frame by frame, finding hidden meanings, character foreshadowing, and narrative subtext that enhance rewatch values exponentially. As the narrative escalates toward the climax, tension ratchets higher with every scene. The gravity phase, stimulus stress, natural disaster intensify, human conflict erupt, and time itself become an adversity. Each obstacle tests not only their physical limits but also moral courage and emotional endurance. The cinematography mirrors this escalation, employing rapid cut during action sequence and lingering shots. In a moment of introspection, storm, landslides, and collapsing infrastructure provides spectacle, but the real tension comes from character stacks. The love, loyalty, and human spirit on the line. Every decision, every risk taken is magnified by the film's relentless pace, ensuring viewers remain at the edge of their seats. The climax is a breathtaking orchestration of disaster and human triumph set against a backdrop of sky splitting auroras and crumbling cityscapes. John and Alison must make the ultimate choice for their family's survival. The stakes are palpable, sacrifice, ingenuity, and trust converge in a movement that feel both inevitable and shocking. The director balanced spectacle with intimacy, ensuring that amidst the chaos, the emotional resonance never falters. Every explosion and every trauma, the director balances spectacle with intimacy, ensuring that amidst the chaos, the emotional resonance never falters. Every explosion, every timbre, and every heartbeat is choreographed to reinforce both narrative and emotion. The crescendo is not only visible but profoundly human, demonstrating that even in a collapsing world, courage, compassion, and hope endure. The resolution provides a powerful, emotionally satisfying clear. The gritty is battered but alive. Witness a world that is irrevocably changed, yet imbued with the possibility of renewal. The final scene juxtaposes stark devastation with quiet movements of human resilience. rebuilding, reconnection, and reflection. Dialogue is minimal but potent, conveying relief, gratitude. The camera lingers on subtle detail, the rising sun over a fractured skyline, children playing outside amidst rubble, birds returning to dissolved streets, empathizing continuity and renewal. The film leaves viewer with a resonant sense of awe, contemplating not just disaster but the indomitable human spirit. In conclusion, Great Greenland 2 Migration 2026 is a masterclass in blending blockbuster spectacle with profound human storytelling. It captivates with the jaw-dropping visuals, heart-pounding tension, and meticulously crafted characters arc, while also inviting reflection on morality, resilience, and the fragility of civilization. From hidden Easter eggs to thematic depth, from intimate character, every frame is carefully designed to immerse, provoke, and move the audience. By the time the credits roll, viewers are left not just entertained, but engaged, inspired, and contemplating their own humanity amidst a world of uncertainty and wonder. This is disaster cinema elevated to art, a story where survival is only the beginning and hope shines brightest in the darkest skies. As the Gretia's journey onward, the film delves into the psychological tool of perpetual movement, the kind of tension that only a slow burning world-shattering disaster can create. Unlike traditional action sequence, Greenland 2 Migration does not thrill, it unsettles, forcing viewers to inhabit the very minds of its character. Scenes of exhaustion, panic, and fleeting hopes are interwoven seamlessly with sprawling vistas of planet under siege. The camera lingers on John as he scans horizon for dangers, his eyes reflecting both fear and determination, his hand battered and trembling from constant vigilance. Clutch the sterling wheel, Eastern, a gamble. Alice an equally compelling walk, a triumvirate between protector and moral compass, negotiating interaction with other survivors, balancing empathy with caution. The thin catch between adolescence and the urgency of life and death stakes, provide the emotional heartbeat of the sequence. His reaction raw and genuine, illuminating the stakes in way words often cannot. The film pacing in this section is masterful. Tension rises gradually through small, meticulously constructed scenes that hint at larger dangers without overwhelming in the viewers. The Gaetrey's encounters abandoned towns where nature has begun reclaiming concrete, and silence weight heavier than any scream. Her cinematography play a critical role. Long wide-angle shots convey isolation, while the subtle use of handheld cameras is more intimate. Scenes create a sense of intimacy and vulnerability. Every shadow, every reflection in broken glass, every distance tremor feels deliberate, drawing viewers further into a world where survival is precocious and trust is rare commodity. Even mundane choices like selecting food or negotiating shelters are charged with suspense, reminding audience that in a collapsing society, the smallest decision can have life-altering consequences. Conflict intensifies with the introduction of other survivor groups, each representing a microcosm of society, fractured morality. Some are fiercely terrestrial, unwilling to share, dribbling resources. Others are opportunistic, exploiting desperation over personal gain. John must navigate this interaction with tact and force. His pragmatism, sometimes at odds with Elias's moral ideals. This dynamic is particularly evident in a tense, battering scene. The greats negotiate for fuel with a group that wields intimidation as currency. Dialogue crackles with tension. Every pause is loaded and every gesture scrutinized. Here the film shines as a study of human behavior under duress, illustrating how crises can reveal both the best and worst of human nature. Beyond plot, this encounter explored themes of trust, ethics, and survival strategy, letting depth adopt relentless physical danger. A pivotal turning point occurs during a perilous river crossing. Flood water swelling from glacial metals and systematic dispersion surge like living entities threatening to sweep away the gritties and their newfound allies. The sequence is choreographed with breathtaking precision. The camera alternates between sweeping aerials showing the river's vast fury and close-ups capturing raw human emotion. The strain attached on John's face, Alison's frantic determination to save Nathan, and the terrified expression of other refugees clinging to debris. Sound design amplifies his jaws. Rushing water, snapping timber, and the frantic shouts of people combined with a score that balanced tension with dispersion as the river claims vehicle and possessions. Alliances are tasted and the character resourcefulness becomes central. John's scene here exemplify the film's recurring motifs. Leaderships under extreme conditions demand courage, ingenuity, and sometimes morally ambiguous choices. Throughout this section, the film continues to interweave subtle symbolic elements, the river ever-changing and unpredictable mirrors and the character internal struggles and the broader thematic exploration of humanity against force beyond control. Each bend and rapid is laden with metaphor. Survival requires adoption, not just brute strength. Cinematic techniques such as slow motion sequence highlighting falling debris on the interplay of light or churning water transform action into visual poetry. The production team reportedly used a combination of practical effects and CGI to achieve this sequence. Even contrasting section of the river is controlled environments to maximize realism by ensuring actors safely. Such attention to detail elevates the scene from mere spectacle to an immersive narrative experience. Character development is deepened during quarters movement, following high-intensity sequences around makeshift fires or temporary shelters. Dialogue and intersection reveal layered backstories, unresolved tension, and evolving relationships. Alison shares stories of her childhood, hinting at formative experiences that shape her ethical compass. With Nathan's tentative expression of fear and curiosity reveal a growing maturity. Under pressure, John, for all his pragmatism, is shown reflecting on his past failures, internalizing guilt that both motivates and torments him. These scenes serve as emotional counterpoint to relentless action, humanizing characters and ensuring the audience remains invested in their journey. The film narrative mastery lies in this balance between spectacle and sentiment, demonstrating that disaster cinemas can be both thrilling and profoundly moving. The filmmaker also weaved in the fan-focused elements, an Easter egg that reward careful observation, subtle new to the first Greenland movies, appeared in the form of new reports, debris marking and even graffiti, hinting at the continuity of global impact and enriching the world building. Additionally, environmental cues suggest larger implications. Distant volcanic activity, shift in wildlife behavior, and atmospheric anomalies hint at global ecological consequences, sparking fans' theories that extend beyond the immediate narrative. Some speculate that this movement foreshadows sequels or even a broader cinematic universe, exploring post-apocalyptic human resilience, adding a layer of intrigue for the viewers eager to analyze the story frame by frame. Suspense escalates further as the Krati approach a major urban center believed to offer sanctuary. The city, however, is fraught with both natural and human hazard. Structure collapses, losters, and the constant threats of secondary comet impact create a palpable sense of dread. Every sheer corners, every partially collapsed building become a tactical consideration. The filmmakers employed dynamic camera work to immerse the audience, often placing viewers within the chaos, mimicking the characters' disorientation and urgency. These sequences are complemented by tense Minimalist score that underscore the stake without overwhelming the narrative, highlighting the filmmaker's deft control over pacing and emotional tone. Amidst this trial, pivotal character decisions drive the story forward. A tense negotiation with a rival survivor, Group tasks, zone leaderships, and strategic thinking. A liaison must mediate, navigates between moral imperatives and survival pragmatism, while Nathan's growing resourcefulness and insight begins to impact groups dynamics. These interactions are not thrilling but also intellectually engaging, inviting viewers to contemplate ethical dilemmas in extreme conditions. The screenplay's attention to nuanced dialogue ensures that moral and emotional stakes resonate as strongly as physical danger, cementing the film's status as both an action spectacle and a profound human drama. This action culminates in a dramatic night sequence where the gravity is stranded on a partially collapsed overpass confront both external threats and internal fears. The interplay of shadow and light, punctuated by sudden tremors and cascading debris, heightened tension to near unbearable levels. Character-driven dramas speak. John must choose between risking his life to save a stranger or ensuring his family immediate safety. Alison confronts the limits of control and Nathan faces the consequence of his impulsiveness. The resolution of this sequence demonstrates the film's ability to balance suspense with emotional depth. Survival is measured not just for physical capability, but of courage, empathy, and strategic thinking. Through this extended sequence, Greenland 2 migration reinforces its overarching themes: the fragility of civilization, the complexity of moral choices under duress, and the enduring human capacity for hope and resilience. Symbolic imagery, the fractured skyline, the raging river, and the fleeting glimpses of wildlife remind viewers that humanity is both small and significant in the broader context of planetary upheaval. Cinematic from intricate practical effect to meticulously layered sound design transform this sequence into fully immersive experience. Fans and critics alike have criticized this movement for their balance of spectacle and substance, highlighting the filmmaker's skill in crafting disaster cinema that is an emotionally compelling and it is visually breathtaking As dawn breaks over a landscape still scared by the previous night chores, the gravity prepare to continue their perilous journey. The narrative, while relentless, offered moments of reflection, capturing the quiet bravery required to survive in a world transformed by catastrophe. Every character's decision, every interaction, and every moment of suspense build toward the climax, leading emotional resonance atop physical peril. This section exemplifies the film's dual focus on spectacle and storytelling, ensuring that audience remains captivated not only by what happened next but by the character whose life at stake. The early morning light skirts across a devastated cityscape, glinting off fractured windows and the jagged steel beams as the great Garrity's praise forward their each step a negotiation with survival itself. The camera tracks them from above, a sweeping aerial shoots, empathizing both their vulnerability and the scale of destruction surrounding them. The once bustling metropolis now lies in era silence, broke only by distant rumbles of collapsing structures and the occasional shots of other survivors navigating the runs. Every frame is meticulously composed, debris-driven streets, overtuned vehicles, and the skeletal remains of buildings tell a story of sudden and overwhelming catastrophe, understanding of stare shakes of the Garrity's journey. This section of the film moves beyond spectacle, immersing viewers in a world where every choice carries irreversible consequence and where every human perseverance is measured not in hours or days, but in movement. As the Garrity's transformed the urban labyrinth, the filmmaker introduced a complex network of obstacles that test both intellectual and instinct, collapsing overpasses, flooded subways, tunnels, and precariously balanced rubble creates a tense edge of your seat consequence. Here John's tactical mind is on full display, assessing structure, stability, planning scape, routes and calculating risk with precision, born from past failures and present necessity. Allison meanwhile balances pragmatism, with emotional intelligence, meditating intentions, and negotiating limited resources. Nathan, growing into his role within the group, begins to demonstrate courage and ingenuity beyond desire, discovering unconventional solutions to seemingly insurmountable problems. These sequences are not mere physical challenges, they are studies in human decision making under extreme duress, and the film uses them to explore deeper theme of responsibility, trust, and resilience. A central tension in this section arises from encounter with other survivors, factions each with their rules, fears, and moral codes. One memorable encounters occur in a partially collapsed shopping center where the gratis cross paths with a group of resourceful yet morally ambiguous survivors led by a charismatic and unpredictable leaders. Dialogue is taut, laced, and subtext, and unspoken threads. Every glance and gesture communicates layers of meaning beyond the word unspoken. Conflict simmers beneath the surface, illustrating the film's ongoing exploration of human nature in crisis. Altruism and self-interest exist on a knife edge, and the boundaries between heroism and opportunism blur in unpredictable ways. Through these interactions, Greenland to migration empathizes that survival is as much a social and psychological challenge as it is physical one. Cinematography plays a crucial role in heightening suspense. During this sequence, the filmmakers employ a mix of handheld cameras for immediacy and sweeping wide shots to underscore scale, juxtaposing the intimate struggle of the Gertrude against a backdrop of global devastation. Lighting is multiple to reflect mood, harsh, fractured light streams through shadow that mirror the uncertainty and moral ambiguity of the world. Sound design is equally deliberate. The cracking of unstable floor, a distance graph of falling debris, and the low constant rumble of seismic activity all combines to create a sensory experience that pulls viewers into the narrative. Even sense Silence is weaponized, giving the audience space to anticipate danger and feel the tension alongside the character. Amidst this escalating danger, the film deepens its exploration of character psychology. Jones' relationships is tested not only by environmental threats but by moral dilemmas. Should he risk the safety of his family to aid strangers? Ally's resilience is portrayed through her unwavering empathy and strategic thinking, challenging the perception that survival requires ruthless pragmatism. Nathan's journey from fearful adolescence to active contributor underscore the theme of growth under pressure, reflecting the broader narrative of human adaptability. Subtle cues, hesitation, facial experience, and body language reveal the character's inner conflicts, making their choices feel organic and emotionally resonant. These moments of introspection are interspersed with high-intensity sequences, enduring a rhythm that balances tension with emotional depth. A particularly harrowing scene unfolds during a nighttime rapid on a partially submerged underground transit station. The gratis must navigate flooded tunnels, unstable scaffolding, and hidden threats from other survivors seeking control over scarce resources. The filmmaker crafted this sequence with meticulous attention to detail, reflection of flickering light in water, the echo of footsteps, and the sudden surge of panic create a claustrophobic atmosphere that keeps the audience on edge. Here, the narrative stakes are elevated through character-driven tension. John must confront the limit of his tactical skills. Alyston must maintain composure under immense psychological stress, and the Nathan's courage is tested in a way that will define his coming of age journey. Within the film, the sequence exemplify the film's ability to combine spectacle, suspense, and character development seamlessly. Symbolism continue to enrich the narrative often through environmental cues and visual metaphors. The submerged transit station, for example, represents the collapse of societal order and the unpredictability of human plans in the face of natural catastrophe. Water as a recurring motif serve both as a literal obstacles as a metaphor force of cleansing, destruction and renewal. The filmmakers integrate these elements subtly, ensuring that enhance rather than distract from the story, adding layers of meaning that reward attentive viewers. Cinematic technique and strategic shift in the perspective amplify these thematic undertones, transforming action sequence into immersive, emotionally charged experiences. Behind the scene insight from this segment reveal the filmmakers' commitment to realism. Stunt coordination was intensive, with actors rehearsing for weeks to navigate unstable sets and stimulate floodwater currents safely. Practical effects were combined with CGI to create a seamless illusion of destruction. From crumbling walls to rapidly shifting debris, crew members reportedly struck these disaster response protocols and urban flood stimulation to ensure authenticity, adding a layer of verisimilitude that heightens audience immersion. Even the extra portraying desperate survivors underwent training to react realistically to scripted crises, making crowd scenes feel spontaneous and genuine rather than staged. These details contribute to the final reputation for blending blockbuster spectacle with grounded realism. The tension escalates as the guerrillas reach the edge of the city, confronting both natural and human threats simultaneously. A collapsing skyscraper serves as the visual climax within this urban landscape, combining practical and digital effects to create a sequence of breathtaking scale and emotional intensity. John must execute split-second decisions to protect his family while navigating failing debris and aggressive survivors. A licensed strategic foresight ensure the group can escape narrowly while Nathans demonstrate a newfound this scene exemplified the film mastery of pacing, blending relentless action with character-driven drama. Every decision, every movement carries weight, reinforcing the stake of survival and the film commitment to authentic human responses under pressure. The sequence concluded with the quiet, reflective interlude, and the gratias catch their breath on the outskirts of devastated city. The camera pulls back to show the enormity of the destruction and highlighting the contrast between human resilience and the overwhelming forces of nature. Dialogue is sparse but potent, reflecting gratitude, exhaustion, and cautious optimism. These moments of calm serve as narrative and emotional punctuation, allowing viewers to process the magnitude of what they have witnessed while preparing for the escalating stakes. Still ahead, the film balances spectacle with introspection, ensuring that emotional resonance is never lost amid the chaos. As this section closes, the narrative emphasizes interconnected themes: human adaptability, the moral complexity of survival, and the endurance of hope, even in the face of near impossible odds. Symbolism through collapsing infrastructure, persist water hazard, and the fleeting glimpses of untouched nature reinforces these ideas, creating a cinematic experience that is both visually and intellectually stimulating. The filmmaker's skillful integration of narrative, character, and visual storytelling ensure that each sequence advance both plot and thematic depth, keeping viewer fully invested in the greatest journey. The greatest path forward remains fraught with uncertainty, yet the film instills a sense of cautious determination. The audience is drawn into rhythm of suspense and reflection, action and insight, ensuring that emotional stakes remain the compelling as physical ones. By the end of this section, viewers are fully immersed in the harrowing journey, emotionally attached to the character and intellectually engaged with complex layered world of Greenland too. Migration 2026. The greatest journey through the outskirts of devastated city leads them into treacherous landscape where human ingenuity and nature fury collide in a way that redefines survivors. The camera sweeps over the fractured industrial zones, once the hub of human activity, now reduces to tracked steel, shattered glass, and choking clouds of dust and smoke. Here the filmmaker explored the juxtaposition of scale. The family appears teeny against the sprawling ruins, empathizing vulnerability and the overwhelming scope of global disaster. Every sound from the distant ground, handing matter to the sharp snap of debris underfoot, served to immerse the audience fully, creating a cinematic experience that is both visually awe-inspiring and viscerally terrifying. The greatest navigate his entire with caution, each step a calculated negotiation between opportunity and peril, reflecting the film's ongoing themes of human resilience against overwhelming odds. Conflict intensifies when the family encounters a group of desperate survivors trapped in half-collapsed factory. The scene is rich with tension, each character, motives and fear playing out in subtle gestures and fleeting expression. John must negotiate for space passage, balancing diplomacy with strategic assertiveness. Alison's role here is critical, mediating between competing factions, reading emotional cues and making split-second decisions that ensure their survival while upholding moral boundaries. The Than increasingly complement contribute ideas that diffuse potential threat, demonstrating a maturation arc that reflects the film's commitment to a character development. Dialogue crackles with urgency, conveying fears, hope, and pragmatism, while also revealing the complexity of human behavior when confronted with life-threatening scenarios. The filmmakers employ a masterful combination of practical effects and CGI to create sequences. The film both authentic and epic, collapsing machinery, shifting catwalks, and unstable floors are rendered with meticulous attention to detail, creating a palpable sense of danger. Lightning and shadows are manipulated to accentuate suspense. Beams of sunlight cutting through fractured skylight contrast sharply with dark claustrophobic corners when scene threads lurk. Sound design amplified tension through a mix of ambient industrial noises, sudden metallic crashes, and a subtle musical scores that ebbs and flows with the narrative. Each tactical choice is served to heighten immersion, ensuring that viewers feel the weight of the environment and the stake facing the character. Amidst the story's character dynamics deepen, reveal emotional layered and internal struggle. John grapples within the weight of leaderships, hunting by past sin and relentless responsibility to protect his family. Alison embodies emotional intelligence and moral clarity, balancing pragmatism with compassion and acting as a stabilizing force not only for the family but for other survivors they encountered. Nathan's development is particularly poignant. His journey from fear to action demonstrates courage under pressure and a gradual assumption of agency, reflecting a broader theme of growth and resilience. These character arcs are seamlessly integrated with the unfolding action, ensuring that emotional stakes remain as compelling as physical threats. A pivotal twist occurred during a sudden aftershock which destabilized the factory and forces as immediate evacuations. The sequence is orchestrated with cinematic precautions, filling beams, shifting debris, and cascading doubt. Dust clouds are captured in wide shot that conveys scale, intercut with close-ups of character, faces reflected terror, determination, and quivering ingenuity. John takes a calculated risk to save a trapped survivors, a decision that underscores his moral complexity and leadership skills, while Allison coordinates the group escape, demonstrating courage and strategic foresight. Nathan must act independently, making a critical choice that tests his emerging majority and cements his role as an integral part of the family's survival dynamics. Their sequence exemplifies their film ability to combine breathtaking spectacle with intimate human drama. Symbolism is subtly woven into the narrative, enriching the story thematic resonance. The fractured factory represents the collapse of industrial society and the vulnerability of human construct in the face of cosmic forces, shifting lighting, the interplay of shadows and dust, the recurring motifs of broken machinery mirror the characters' internal struggle and the moral ambiguity inherent in survival. Waters as if it has appeared earlier in flooding sequence, re-emerged symbolically in leaks and revealed, serving as both a literal obstacle and metaphorical force of cleaning, danger, and renewal. These visual cues reinforce the film's layered storytelling, offering attentive viewers additional avenue for engagement and interpretation. Behind the scene inside reveal the filmmaker's commitment to authenticity and practical effect. The factory sequence was particularly constructed or sound-staged to allow precise control over collapsing structure, while other elements were created using CGI to seamlessly integrate with live action footage. Stunt coordinators ensured that actors could safely navigate unstable platforms and stimulated debris, while background performers underwent training to react realistically to environmental hazards. The combination of these techniques result in sequences that feel both thrilling, real, and cinematically grand, enhancing immersion and audience engagement. Fan theories around this segment have emerged quickly with speculation about the broader implications of factory collapse. Some suggest that the industrial zone previously abandoned holds secret about governmental disaster preparation and resource hoarding, hinting at potential plot threats for squills. Other theorize that small details such as marking on machinery or coded graffiti signals hidden messages about survival, network on future challenges the gratis may face. These interpretations, whether acute or speculative, reflect the film's depth and its capacity to inspire active audience engagement and ongoing decision beyond the screen. As the Gatorade emerge from the factory, the narrative shift to a more introspective tone, empathizing the psychological and emotional toll of the sustained disaster, survival, exhaustion, fear, and relief interweave in dialogues and the visual storytelling. John pauses to rest against the beam, contemplative while Alison tend to minor injuries and Nathan's reflect silently on harrowing experience he has endured. The filmmaker used lingering shots and subtle sound design to amplify this moment of reflection, highlighting the human cost of survival and the internal resilience required to persist Images provide the audience with space to process both the physical and emotional stakes, enhancing the expanse of the subsequent sequence. Tension Rickingly as the family approaches a treacherous mountain pass, their path obstructed by snow, ice, and unstable rock formations, a stark contrast to the urban environment previously traversed. Here the film cinematography sympathizes verticality, dangers and scale with sweeping aerial views of jagged cliff, juxtaposed against intimate close-ups of tractors negotiating sheep, sheer drops and shifting footing. The environmental hazards are accompanied by the unpredictable weather and the persistent threats of secondary commands fragments, forcing the Gratas to rely on its ingenuity, quick reflexes, and the unwavering determination. Each step is fraught with risk and every choice carries the weight of potential disaster. Character interaction in this segment highlight both conflict and cooperation. Tension rises within the group as the fatigue and fear exacerbate minor disagreement. John's decision-making is challenged by the need to balance safety with urgency. Alison negotiates interpersonal conflicts while maintaining group cohesion, and Nathan's growing confidence and resourcefulness help mediate disputes. These dynamics reinforce the film exploration of leadership's moral complexity and the human capacity for adoption under extreme pressure. The narrative ensures that even high-stake action sequences are infused with emotional resonance and character-driven tension. The filmmaker's attention to environmental realism is evident throughout the mountain pass sequence. Practical effects such as stimulated rock slides, wind gusts, and snowstorms were combined with CGI to create a seamless, immersive experience. Safety protocols for actors navigating perilous terrain were meticulously designed, allowing for dynamic physical performance without compromising well-being. Lighting, camera angles, and sound design work in concern to heighten suspense, evoke awe, and underscore the perilous nature of the journey. as retail from the crust of snow underfoot to the distant roar of shifting ice, contribute to the immersive storytelling experience. As the Gratias reach the peak of the pause, the film introduces a narrative turning point. This for a distant safe zone, illuminated faintly against the stormy sky. This visual motif symbolizes hope, resilience, and possibility of survival, reinforcing the film's central theme. Our journey is far from over, as the challenges ahead, both environmental and human, remains unpredictable and formidable. Cinematography empathizes scale and vulnerability, showing the family divorced from the surrounding mountains and swirling weather, yet determined to press forward. These sequences blend visual spectacle with thematic depth, creating a resonant cinematic experience. The Gratias inch forward through the mountain path, each step a precocious negotiation with gravity and fate. Snow swirled around them like teeny white specters, and the howling wind carries the echoes of distant destructions, a constant reminder that the world they once knew has been irrevocably altered. The camera glides alongside the family, capturing both the breathtaking scale of the jagged peaks and the intimate tension of their expressions. John's breath fogs in the frigid hairs, his eyes scanning every ridge and the cliff face for threats, both environmental and human. A licensed gloved hand clutched Nathan's, encouraging him against panic while projecting calm determination. Nathan, despite his youth, moved with growing confidence, demonstrating the combination of the skill and instinct that has owned over the journey. Each step forward is a microcosm of the larger narrative. Survival demand, courage, calculation, and unity. Even the smallest misstep can cascade into catastrophe. Conflict arises when the path narrows to sheer cliff with precise plunging into a curling river below. Here the film captures the essence of suspense. Through cinematography, the camera tightened on trembling hands, loose rocks skidding down the slope, and the strained faces illuminated by intermittent lightning. Sound design heightened every tension points, gusts of wind, screams like wild animals, Rocks clattered with alarming unpredictability, and the occasional distant boom of collapsing ice sheets underscored the ever-present dangers. The audience feels very tremor every uncertainty, and if they are on balance dependent on the glacier's careful navigations. The filmmaker interlaced the sequence with close-ups of characters, emotional fears, rumination, and fleeting moment of doubt, reminding viewer that in the disaster the mind can be treacherous as the environment. As the careful transport the cliff fire, they encounters another group of survivors, stranded and weakened by the extreme condition. Tension flared immediately. Some members demand resources and assert dominance. Others plead for help. John, already burdened by leadership responsibilities, must take swift and moral complex decisions, offer ads and risk depleting their own supplies and press on and ensure the safety of his immediate family. Alison stepped in with her characteristic calm authority, mediating disputes while subtly assessing the intention the group. Nathans, witnessing these interactions, internalized the nouns of human behavior in crisis. His rapid maturation, underscored through body language and deceive action. The scene reinforced a recurring theme. Survival is not solely about physical endurance, it is about moral navigation, empathy, and strategic insight. Amidst the escalating tension, the filmmaker delivered a movement of awe-inspiring spectacle. A sudden avalanche cascaded down a distant peak. Its thunderous roar dominating the soundscape and shaking the camera as if the earth itself is reaching to the human struggle below. Practical effect and CGI blend seamlessly with snow, ice, and debris tumbling with realistic physics, while listening captured the blinding brilliance of the avalanche against the dark storm clouds. The sequence is choreographed to maintain suspense. John shields his family allies and drags the group, and Ethan instinctively ducks under failing debris. Each action synchronized to maintain visual and emotional coherence. Here, narrative views spectacle not as mere entertainment but as a reflection of the unpredictable and overwhelming powers of nature, reinforcing the film's central theme. In quieter, introspective movement, the film explored the psychological consequence of prolonged disaster around the makeshift fire shelters behind jagged blunders. The catriarchs and the survivors, they assist their stories, fear and small victories. Dialogue is sparse but emotionally potent. Each word carries the weight of exhaustion, loss, and lingering hope. Jones reflects on past failures and restlessness, what it means to lead a licensure insight from her past that shaped her resilience. Anathan grapples with her duality of fear and agency. These reflections included juxtaposed with the surrounding chaos, providing narrative balance and reinforce the emotional depth of the film, reminding viewers that human survival is about mental and emotional endurance as physical capability. The filmmakers skillfully incorporate symbolism and thematic depth into a sequence. The avalanche from the instant serve as a metaphor for the unstoppable forces of change and fragility of human construct in the face of cosmic events. Snow and ice recurring motif throughout the narrative, symbolizing both purity and danger, the duality of nature's beauty and its capacity for destruction. Even the family temporary camp built among jagged rock reflect the precocious balance between safety and export, control and vulnerability. Visual storytelling combined with sound design and cinematography ensure that these thematic elements are seamlessly integrated into the section, creating layers of meaning for attentive viewers to unravel behind the scene. Inside reveal the length taken to achieve realism. The avalanche sequence involved a combination of uncontrolled practical snow and high fidelity CGI to ensure safety while maintaining authenticity. Actor rehearsed extensively in stimulated high-altitude conditions to adopt their breathing, movement and responses to extreme weather. Special effects teams studies avalanche physics to replicate the natural flow of snow and debris accurately. Even minor details such as the combination of frost on clothing, on the crunch of icy terrain underfoot were meticulously crafted to heighten immersion. These production choices The filmmaker's dedication to the creating a full, deliberate and cinematic world where spectacle and narrative reinforce one another. Fan theories surrounding this section have emerged quickly. Some suggest that the avalanche's timing and trajectory might indicate larger geographical instability, hinting at a global scale threats beyond that immediate narrative. Others speculate that subtle details like marking on nearby cliffs or hint of hidden shelters could foreshadow future plot development or reveal previously concealed survival network. These interpretations, whether intended by the filmmaker or not, enhance viewer engagement, encouraging close analysis and decision long after the credits roll. The film layers storytelling invites audience to participate actively in revealing the narrative complexity as the greatest continue their journey. Natural obstacles are compounded by the persistent threats of other human. Tension rises within the survivors groups and exaggerated by the fatigue, security of the resources and fear. John's leadership is tested as disputed threaten cohesion. Alison negotiated to preserve group integrity and Norton's but ongoing confidence allow him to meditate conflict. These interactions reinforce the narrative focus on moral complexity and human psychologically under stress. The interplay of dialogue, action, and environmental hazard ensure that suspense is sustained while character development remains central, keeping viewers emotionally invested. The climax of this section occurs when the family must cross the treacherous frozen rivers. The ice cracking ominously beneath each step. Cinematography emphasizes both danger and scale. Sweeping shots capture the vastness of icy expanse, while close-ups focus on trembling hands, strained faces and the subtle tension in body movement. Sound design amplifies suspense with the crack of ice, gust of wind and the distant roar of falling glaciers. John carefully guides the group, calculating weight distribution and potential weak points, while Alison maintained calm authority, encouraging focus and composure. Nathan ingenuity shines as he defined as a suffer crossing path, highlighting the maturation arc that has been developing across the narrative. The sequence concluded with the successful crossing, yet tension remains palpable. The family relief is tempered by exhaustion, awareness of remaining dangers, and the realization that their journey is far from over. Dialogue is minimum, relying on the sheer glances, body language, and a subtle interaction to convey relief, gratitude, and cautious optimism. This quiet aftermath allows the audience to breathe, process the stakes, and reflect on the evolving dynamics between characters. The filmmaker's use of pacing, editing, and sound ensure that emotional resonance is maintained, preparing viewers for the escalating challenges and climatic sequence that lie ahead. As Part 5 closes, the narrative reinforces central theme, resilience, moral complexity, and the power of hope amidst overwhelming adversity. The combination of environmental hazard, human conflict, and character introspection ensures a rich, multi-layered viewing experience. Every obstacle faced by the Grati serve to deepens engagement, highlighting the interplay between spectacle, emotion, and intellectual investment that define Greenland to Migration 2026. The Gratias push toward ascending higher into the treacherous mountains, their breath racked in the thinning air, bodies weighed down by exhaustion, fear, and the burden of relentless survival. The camera captured the dizzying heights sweeping over Jack. The soundscape is layered with a mist of wind, the snap of icy rises, and the faint roar of collapsing mountainside. Every element engineered to immerse the audience in the perilous environment. The tension is relentless, each step carries the weight of potential disaster. The mountain acting as both antagonist and crucible for human endurance. Conflict escalates as the family encounter a massive crevasse blocking their path, its step dissipating into the shadows. This obstacle is not merely physical, it representing the emotional and psychological hurdles they have faced and the uncertainty of their journey outcomes. Jones examined the gap carefully, his gaze alternating between the icy void and the improvised tools that carry a license sensing both danger and opportunity, assesses how to navigate the peril while preserving moral. The task increasingly sourceful just as the untasted crossing method, reflecting the growth he has undergone since the journey begins. Dialogue is tense but precise. Every dialogue is since the journey began. Cinematography, the sequence is masterful, blending sweeping panoramic shots with intimate, heart-pounding close-ups. Wide angles convey the overwhelming scales of the environment, making the family journey feel epic, making the family and monumental, while tight framing and the handles cameras work immerse the audience in immediate danger. Lightning accentuate contrast between perilous shadows and glinting eyes, creating visual metaphors for hope and dangers. Intertwined sound design heightened for every heartbeat and every tremor in the eyes, every subtle shift of the family weight as they prepare to transfer the crevasse. The score alternates between minimalistic tension and scorching orchestral swells, guiding viewers through a spectrum of emotional intensity that mirror the character experiences. The crossing itself is cinematic masterstroke combining practical effect with high fielding CGI to create a sequence that is thrilling, immersive and emotionally resonant. Eyes crack ominously beneath their feet. Each step is deliberate, each movement agreeable. John leads a coaching ropes to precocious outcomes, his focus relenting despite the ever-present danger. Alison follows with tactical precision, her calm authority ensuring that group cohesions while Nathan moves with caution. Bravery that reflects his coming of age arc. The filmmaker intercut movement of environmental spectacle, avalanches trembling in the distance, sharp winds sending snow flying with close-ups of trembling hands, the sustained feast highlighting tension and reinforcing the narrative emotional stakes. Every decision is charged with consequence, and every moment of hesitation could be fatal. Character psychology is front and center during the sequence. John's internal struggle is palpable. The weight of leaderships, the fear of failures and the instinct of protect his family converge in a tension-filled mix that inform each decision. Alyssa's resilience is showcased not only in her physical courage but in her ability to maintain moral clarity amidst chaos, balancing pragmatism with compassion. Nathan's role is equally critical. His courage, quick thinking, and growing confidence, highlighting the film exploration of maturation under extreme pressure. The sequence becomes a crucible for each character, testing their limit and criticizing their growth in a way that resonates emotionally and thematically. Behind the scene inside reveal the meticulous preparation that went into this segment. Actors unwarned altitude accumulation, training and safety, rehearsal for navigating stimulated carvasses, practice eyes effects were combined with CGI overlays to ensure realism without compromising safety. Stunt coordinates mapped out every movement with millimeter precision, while camera rigs capture dynamics angles that convey vertigo and immediacy. The sound design team meticulously layered wind, cracking ice and subtle environmental cues to maintain tension and authenticity. These production choices result in sequences that are not only thrilling but also emotionally immersive, grounding spectacle in verified reality. Fan theories about this sequence has proliferated. Some spectacle that the carver's location may hide remnants of pre-planned settles and catch, hinting at the broader narrative of governmental foresight and societal survival strategies. Others interpret the crossing as a metaphorical passage from course toward hope, attached to familiarity and the moral fortitude that echoes across the entire film. These interpretations deepen audience engagement, inviting viewers to examine visual and narrative cues for hidden meaning. Foreshadowing and character insight reinforcing the film's layered storytelling approach. As part 6 closes, the narrative solidified the overarching arm. Human resilience, familiar bond, and the delicate balance between hope and danger, environmental hazard, moral dilemmas, and the character growth coalesces, ensuring that viewers remain fully immersed in the story while anticipating the escalating stake and approaching cinematic sequence. The cinematic experience continued to blend spectacle, emotional, and thematic depth, creating a rich, multi-layered narrative that captivates on every level. Dawn breaks over the jagged peaks, a cold pale light spilling across frost-covered rocks, illuminating the greatest as they prepare to continue their journey. The ice curve that has offered temporary reprieve now feels like a boat scantily and cage, a fragile shatters in a world that has grown increasingly hostile. The camera lingers on their faces, capturing lines of fatigue, determination, and lingering. not merely a fast physical stamina but of the moral endurance and emotional resilience. John's eyes scanned the horizon, reading the subtle movement of snow and the wind for hidden dangers. Eliza kneels beside Nathan, checking his gear and offering in engagement for the calm authority that believes her own exhaustion. The silence is heavy, almost tangible, filled with anticipation as if mountains themselves are holding their breath, waiting for the next challenges to unfold. Conflict arises almost immediately as the family set out across a treacherous ride with shared drops and unstable snow. Formation tests their courage and coordination. John takes the lead and got using ropes and ice picks to secure the path, while Alison provides steady guidance and moral support. The task, increasingly confident, mirrors their action, proving that he has internalized lessons of vigilance, courage, and adaptability. The filmmaker utilized a combination of sweeping aerial shots and intimate close-ups to convey scale and intimacy. The family appears miscues against the squabbling cliffs, yet every movement carries immense consequence. Sound design amplifies the tension, the crunch of snow underfoot, the sharp crack of shifting ice, and the distant rumble of avalanches converge into the symphony of peril, immersing viewers fully into the narrative. As they trance the ridge, a sudden tremor shakes the mountain. Dislodging snow and ice is cascading display of natural fury. The filmmakers employ practical effect combined with CGI to create a visceral sense of danger. Fragment of ice tumble past, threatening to sweep the family away, while wine gasped hold with terrifying intensity. John's leadership is tested to the limit. He must make split-second decisions to shield his family while maintaining forward momentum. Alison coordinates the group movement, ensuring everyone remains tethered and forced, while Nathan's quick thinking helps intensify the safety roads through tension, and every moment of hesitation carries potentially lethal consequences. Character development continues to deepen during this sequence. John is revealed not merely as a protector but as a man grappling with the immense responsibility of leadership, confronting the fear of failures while demonstrating unwavering commitment to his family. Alison embodies resilience and emotional intelligence, balancing pragmatism with empathy, navigating interpersonal dynamics with the precision of seasoned strategic. The thought evolution is particularly compelling. His bravery, resourcefulness, and moral insight, highlighting a coming of age arc that resonates strongly with audience. The interplay of these dynamics ensure that narrative remains as emotionally engaging as it is thrilling, with human relationships providing grounding amidst the spectacle. Symbolism is resolved subtly through this sequence. The ridge represents both a literal and metaphorical precepts, highlighting the precociousness of human existence when confronted with overwhelming natural forces. Ice and snow continue to serve as recurring motifs, reflecting both beauty and danger, stability and instability. The filmmaker use of flighting glitz of sunlight reflecting off icy surfaces contrasted with deep shadowy cavities underscore themes of hope and threat, guiding viewers attentive while reinforcing narrative meaning. Every visual element is meticulously composed to enhance emotional impact and thematic resonance. Behind the scene inside reveal the precision required to achieve this sequence. Actor underwent specialization training in monitoring techniques and ice navigation, while stunt coordinator meticulously choreographed movement to stimulate the precocious condition. The sound design team meticulously layered wine tracking, ice and subtle environmental cues to maintain tension and authenticity. These production clauses result in sequences that are not only thrilling but also emotionally immersive, grounding spectacle in verifiable reality. Fan theories about this sequence has proliferated. Some speculate that the carway's location may hide remnants of pre-planned shelters or caches, hinting at a broader narrative of governmental foresight and societal survival strategies. Others interpret the crossing as metaphorical passage from chaos toward hope, a test of familiar unity and moral fortitude that echoes across the entire film. These interpretations deepen audience engagement, inviting viewers to examine visual narrative cues for hidden, meaningful foreshadowing and characters insight, reinforcing the film's layered storytelling approach as the family successfully crosses the crevasse. The narrative shifts to reflection and preparation for the challenges ahead. They pause briefly, tending to minor injuries, checking supplies, and the sharing quiet exchanging that reinforces bond and highlight growth. John's leadership is ephemeral but tempered by the realization of ongoing danger, a license, compassion, and strategic insight strengthen group cohesion. The Than's bravery and problem-solving continue to demonstrate the evolution of his character from fearful adolescent to capable participant in their survival journey. These quiet interludes provide narrative breathing space while empathizing the psychological endurance required to persist in such extreme circumstances. Tension rises and new existent tremors signal another environmental hazard. A massive ice fall from a nearby glaciers threatened to cut off their path forward. The filmmakers employ a combination of aerial photography, a dynamic camera movement to capture the impending dangers, juxtaposing sweeping landscape shots with intimate, responsive close-ups. The Gratia's reaction deceive, instructive and emotionally charged as framed to maximize immersion and emotional resonance. Sound design exemplify every crack, roar and gust of wind, creating an almost tactile sense of threats. This sequence exemplifies the film mastery of pacing, balancing breathless suspense with movement of character drive and reflect. The ice trail serves not only as physical obstacle but as symbolic turning point representing the unpredictability of life and the necessity of adoption. The family response highlights central themes: courage under pressure, moral decision-making, and the unyielding drive to survive. Visual motifs reinforce the entire ideas: jagged eyes as danger, glimmers of sunlight as hope, and the character's silhouettes against immense natural forces as a metaphor for human resilience. These narrative and cinematic choices ensure that suspense is interwoven with thematic depth, maintaining engagement on multiple levels. The sequence concluded with the chariots finding temporary shelters in a naturally formed ice cave, offering a movement of reprise amidst unrelenting tension. Within this confined space, the filmmaker focused on character interaction using close-ups, dialogue, and subtle gestures to convey relief, reflection, and mutual support. Jones revives their path forward, allies and tend to the group moral, and Nathan examine the cave, uncovering small resources that may prove vital. The filmmaker used this pause to reinforce continuity, thematic resonance, and the emotional stake of the narrative, preparing viewers for the next stage of the journey. At past six closes, the narrative solidified the overreaching arcs. Human resilience, family bond, and delicate balance between hope and danger, environmental hazard, moral dilemmas, and character growth collapse, ensuring that viewers remain fully immersed in the story while anticipating the escalating track and approaching cinematic sequence. The cinematic experience continued to blend spectacle, emotion, and thematic depth, reading a rich, multiple-layered narrative that captivates on every level. Dawnbreak over a jagged peaks, a cool pale light spilling across frost-covered rock, illuminating the gatherers as they prepare to continue their journey. The ice cave that had offered temporary deprived now feels like both scanty and cage, a fragile shelter in a world that has grown increasingly hostile. The camera lingers on their faces, capturing lines of fatigue, determination, and lingering fear, reminding viewers that survival is not merely a task of physical stamina but of the mental endurance and emotional resilience. John's eyes scan the horizon, reading the subtle movement of snow and wind for hidden dangers. Alison kneels beside Nathan, checking his gear and offering encouragement with calm authority that believes her own exhaustion. The silence is heavy, almost tangible, filled with anticipation, as if the mountains themselves are holding their breath, waiting for the next challenge to unfold. Conflict arises almost immediately as the family sets out, crosses as the treacherous ridge where sheer slopes and unstable snow formation test their courage and coordination. John takes the lead using ropes and ice picks to secure the path, while Alison provides steady guidance and moral support. Nathan, increasingly confident, mirrored their action, providing that he has internalized lesson of vigilance, courage, and adaptability. The filmmaker utilized a combination of sweeping aerial shots and intimate close-ups to convey scale and intimacy. The film appears, yet every moment carries immense consequence. Sound design and amplify the tension, the crunch of snow underfoot, the sharp crack of shifting ice, and the distant rumble of avalanches converge into a symphony of peril, immersing viewers fully in a narrative. As it transferred, the region's sudden tremor shakes the mountains, dislodging snow and ice is cascading display of natural fury. The filmmakers employ practical effect combined with CGI to create a visceral sense of danger. Fragment with ice tumble past, threatening to sweep the family away. Wind gusts hold with terrifying intensity. John's leadership is touched to a limit. He must make split-second decision to shield his family while maintaining flow and momentum. Allison coordinates the group momentum, ensuring everyone remains scattered and focused, while Nathan's quick thinking helps identify the safest route through the echoes. Every action is infused with tension and every movement of hesitation carries potentially lethal consequence. Character development continues to deepen during this sequence. John is revealed not merely as a protector but as a man grappling with the immense responsibility of leadership, confronting the fear of failure while demonstrating unwavering commitment to his family. Alison embodies navigating interpersonal dynamics with the precision of second strategist. Thus, evolution is particularly compelling. His bravery, resourcefulness, and the moral insight highlighting a coming of age arc that resonates strongly with audience. The interplay of these dynamics ensure that the narrative remains as emotionally engaging as it is thrilling, with human relationships providing grounding amidst the spectacle. Symbolism is threatened subtly through this sequence. The ridge represented both a literal and metaphorical precipice, highlighting the precociousness of human existence when confined with overwhelming natural forces. Ice and snow continue to serve as recurring motifs, reflecting both beauty and danger. stability and instability. The filmmaker use of lightning, glints of sunlight reflecting off icy surfaces, contrasted with deep shadow. It can reveal underscores themes of hope and threats, guiding viewers attentive while reinforcing narrative meaning. Every visual element is meticulously composed of enhanced emotional impact and thematic resonance. Fan theories have emerged regarding this mountain sequence, suggesting hidden messages embedded in environmental details such as the alignment of ridges and subtle carving in rock faces, hinting at pre-established survival network for forthcoming challenges. Others interrupt the sequence as symbolic rites of passage for Nathan, representing his transition from vulnerable adolescent to capable survivors, reinforcing coming of age element intertwined with the disaster survival. These fans' interpretation deepen engagement, encouraging careful observation and decision. The sequence included with as the characters successfully navigate the surf ridge through north without coast. Minor injuries, heightened fatigue, and an intensified awareness over dangers still to come. They pause briefly, surviving the path ahead and sharing quiet moments of reflection, reforming familiar bonds and resilience. John reviews the road with cautious determination. Allies tend to both physical and emotional need, and Nathan demonstrate a quiet and confidence that underscored his maturation. The filmmaker used this movement to combine narrative reflection with visual storytelling. The mountain loom above as a reminder of ongoing threats, a sunlight breaking through clouds symbolize hope and endurance. As part 7 closes, the story solidifies its central theme: human resilience, ethical decision making under pressure, and the enduring power of hope and familiarity amidst catastrophic circumstances. Environmental hazards, interpersonal conflict, and psychological tension interwoven seamlessly, maintaining narrative momentum while deepening audience engagement. The cinematic experience continued to blend action, emotion, and thematic resonance, setting the stage for the escalating challenges and the climatic sequence that lie ahead in the film.